Thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. As someone who works from home, getting out of the house and working in public places is essential to not go absolutely insane. Of course, public Wi-Fi comes with some not so good downsides. That's why I use Surfshark to make sure my private information, like my login credentials, my banking information, and even my browsing history remain private and anonymous. I take my privacy pretty seriously, so I also make sure to use it when I'm at home. I don't need my internet service provider knowing when I'm looking up pictures of Ed Sheeran. I don't need advertisers to make profiles about me, and I surely do not need to be geo-blocked from songs and videos on YouTube. I'm trying to enjoy my city pop hits seamlessly here. One of the big benefits of Surfshark is the fact that they are a no logs VPN, which means they don't keep any information saved about your usage or history. This is what you want in a VPN provider. Surfshark also provides Surfshark Alert as part of their service, which instantly notifies you when your personal data is leaked. Surfshark is offering you Chon heads 4 extra months on a 2-year plan with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So head on over to surfshark.com/Chon or just click the first link in the description and protect your privacy. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Adult Swim. Oh my god, why did I yell that? I just fucking yelled that. Adult Swim, a programming block on Cartoon Network known for its absurd shows, weird bumpers, and what started as a grassroots effort to bring unconventional, low-budget adult shows to TV is now one of the only channels where creativity truly lives. In fact, it's the only living part of the Cartoon Network. Yes, Cartoon Network is dead. I'm sorry if this is how you found out. I've grabbed a hat here so we could take off our hats and pay respect to the death of Cartoon Network, I guess. I think that's the Star Spangled Banner. I don't think that's the funeral song. Before we dive in, I have to explain that Cartoon Network isn't dead. It's just a corpse on the floor that has no heartbeat and it's no longer converting oxygen to carbon dioxide. But it's not dead, technically. They haven't had a new show in years. They only play reruns on their network, and they don't even have a website anymore. Going to the Cartoon Network website just redirects you to this video of Sonic and Mario kissing. I don't even know if I could show this footage on here. You know what happens when you go on Adult Swim's website? It takes you to their website where you can watch episodes of their shows and see what new stuff is coming out. And you could do this, which is pretty fun. Does this look like a dead network to you? So I think we can all agree that Cartoon Network has gone the way of the dinosaur and its weird cousin, the chicken, aka Adult Swim in this scenario, lives on. Let's unpack what happened. Also, I've been sick for 10 days. I don't know if you could tell or if this is just how I always act, so be nice. First of all, people grew up. A pretty weak reason to start with. But let me just explain myself. God damn it. Give me 1 second to explain this point. Cartoon Network, like most networks, happened in generations. And when you grow up and you stop watching, the generation after yours looks like alternate dimension programming. Like, what am I looking at here? These look like rejected Amazing World of Gumball characters or some shit. I don't know what this is. You ever visit your old work after you and all your friends quit and it just looks wrong? Like, I don't know if it's being run any worse now, but I feel like it is just because I don't recognize the dude giving me change. Yeah, that feeling is totally irrelevant with Cartoon Network. They just air reruns that we are familiar with. The important thing is that there's always a generation after you. You don't need to know what this is because some iPad baby with poor reading comprehension that's 19 years old is going to tell you, "Das apple orange, they kiss." I don't know why I keep saying apple and orange. God damn it. That's apple and onion. They kiss on the mouth. That's apple and onion. The problem for Cartoon Network is our generation grew up and stopped watching Cartoon Network, which in and of itself isn't an issue. There was a generation before us that stopped watching around the time regular show was on. There was a generation before that that stopped watching when, I don't know, Flapjack was on. It's an ongoing cycle. It's one of life's constants. But there was always a generation of kids to replace the aging out generation. Until now. The reality is kids don't watch cartoons anymore. They don't watch TV anymore. They watch dudes with neon hair playing video games and families forcing their kids to open toys and play with them in front of a camera. Whoa, look at me though. I grew up with real entertainment like this. This is so highbrow. When we stopped watching Cartoon Network, there was no generation to come in after us and keep the network from dying and imploding on itself like a fucking Boeing plane. Cartoon Network and all traditional media has been struggling, especially with kids, since the 2010s. This device that had us by the balls, and I'm just gonna leave it at balls, no longer has the power that it once did. It's old news. I mean, think of when you were a kid. Would you rather have had a yo-yo or a freaking Nintendo DS with Pokemon Platinum? You didn't want the dumbass yo-yo. You wanted a fucking Star Raptor because that shit is sick looking. TV is now the yo-yo. Ultimately, advertisers are not gonna pay you to show their commercials in the middle of a 7-hour Teen Titans Go marathon that no one is watching. The views dropped and the network struggled to make money. So how did Cartoon Network deal with this complete shift in entertainment intaking habits? They kind of just greenlit random shit and didn't change their strategy at all. So with all the Cartoon Network heads growing up and moving on to adult-oriented programming, and there being no kids to replace them because kids only watch Drake and Ninja play Fortnite now, Cartoon Network just kind of lost relevance and died out. But you know what else is still on? Let's just do the regular take. But you know what else is still on TV and not dead? Adult Swim, which brings us to our final point. Adult Swim is just good and has always been able to adapt because it's always been ahead of its time. Their weird shows that might have been too weird 15 years ago feel completely at home in today's modern landscape of bizarre internet humor. Like you could pitch anything to Adult Swim. If you just pitch it right, it will get greenlit. My brain is not at 100% capacity, so these off the dome pitches are not going to be good, so you can't judge them. And if they are good, you cannot steal them, okay? Deal? Shake on it. Shake on it. First, a hat that when you put it on, someone's consciousness lives in one hat, and it's at a thrift store. Whoever wears it gets the personality of that person. And of course, it's such a zany, funny personality. I'm not going to do a fucking voice for it. Okay, there's three dudes. They're subway drivers, and also they're detectives, and there's a talking tree. They hang out with it, but no one knows it talks, but it's chill with them. And it's not even like a weird, like, mythical tree. It's literally just a chill-ass tree that for some reason knows a lot about pop culture, and they all hang out around it for their breaks. Okay, maybe there is lots of thought that goes into a show that gets pitched to Adult Swim. I take back my point. Those fucking sucked. Adult Swim has been able to outlive Cartoon Network because it has amazing original shows as well as popular licensed or acquired shows to keep some diversity. They also have a Rick and Morty anime, which I don't even know what that is, but it's its own thing, I think. I'm sure it's helping somehow. I'm sure it's the reason why Adult Swim is still around. I can't say with full certainty that Cartoon Network died just because no one was watching. I mean, obviously it's probably the biggest reason, but the fact that they could not make new shows that stuck with the youth nowadays was not helping. I mean, how much Teen Titans Go can one network play? Dude, what would happen if we only ever played one show? Oh shit, our network died. It killed our network. On top of all of that, animated shows are expensive. That's why Adult Swim originals looked like this for the longest time. Adult Swim has the best animated shows right now, though. Smiling Friends and Common Side Effects are going to define the 2020s. Smiling Friends is already turning into Gen Z's Rick and Morty. I mean, guys, we should probably tread lightly because we're going to do this with it. I don't want this to happen to that show. The network understands the humor of its audience, and they understand that creative people, more specifically animators, make good shows. What happens when you give a shitty comedian a show? This. Don't do this. Adult Swim is able to capture the audience of Cartoon Network that outgrew Cartoon Network, as well as the millions of rednecks around the country that love them dang funny cartoons. I don't know why that's a thing, but it just makes sense. Obviously, Cartoon Network fumbled to an extent, but you can't blame them for losing their audience to a complete upturn of the entertainment industry. At the same time, though, there were hundreds of ways they could have adapted to this. You can blame Adult Swim for keeping their viewers and gaining new ones, and you can also blame them for basically anything if you want. No one's stopping you. Accidentally ate your roommate's food? Adult Swim ate your roommate's food. They were able to adapt to the rise of streaming without completely disconnecting themselves from their cable roots. Their new shows come out on a weekly basis still on their channel first. They extended their programming hours, and they also understand how to use the internet and social media to their advantage. Young people are extremely familiar with Adult Swim, whether it's through their weird shows or those strange bumpers that have taken on a life of their own. They're so memorable. Watching Adult Swim bumpers is like playing Gary's Mod. I don't know why, but that just makes sense to me. They're weird and kind of unsettling. Now that I say that, this mashup would actually be a pretty solid Adult Swim show. I'm still very butthurt that Team Fortress 2 was supposed to have their own Adult Swim show, and it just never happened because Valve stopped everything. Also, I grew up in a conservative household, so that meme of don't turn on Cartoon Network after 8 p.m. they drink beer was all too real for me. I was like a white woman at the semi-annual Bath & Body Works sale, the way I was rushing for that TV remote to change the channel when the King of the Hill opening started. So why does Cartoon Network dying and Adult Swim succeeding really matter? Because it's honestly a bittersweet situation. First of all, cartoons and animations have a pretty significant barrier to entry. Cool pronunciation there. We all hate barriers to entry until we stop and think about it for a second and realize maybe not everyone should have the ability to make content for the impressionable youth of America. Maybe there should be parties that have studied youth majors to check our content before it reaches little kids. Maybe low effort slop where proper English is not being spoken is affecting our kids. Just fucking maybe. Second, Cartoon Network is just part of the childhood experience. Yeah, that's my reason. I remember every week at school talking about the new episode of Regular Show or Adventure Time or whatever else was on. It was awesome. These shows were good and they garnered a community around their weekly episodes. I don't know. Cartoon Network was important to me. I mean, I also watched a shit ton of Nickelodeon and Disney Channel as a kid, but shows like Adventure Time, those kind of transcend childhood and teenage years. I still think Adventure Time, I think everyone can agree Adventure Time is freaking incredible. That would not have happened on another program channel. I was also scared to watch Regular Show when it first came out because they said crap. It's a pretty scary word. I told you guys about the household I grew up in. Finally, Adult Swim it promotes creativity and is just an inspiring place. The low budget aspect of a lot of their shows really makes it feel like you could do this too if you really wanted to. They love plucking talent from the internet and giving them a platform to make good shit and get paid for it. With the incredible success of Smiling Friends, which is a show created by two Newgrounds animators / YouTubers, not to mention Sick Animation being a pretty big part of the show, I think this is going to be a pretty big initiative going forward. But even before that, Adult Swim has given small creators the ability to make shows that would not work on any other network. It's a beautiful break from the monotony that is TV, especially adult animation. I also find it funny that the original appeal of adult animation was, whoa, this is for kids, but did they just say the sex word? And fast forward to today, 2D animation really only lives on with adult media. Like most kids shows today are ugly CG 3D messes. No offense to the creators working on that. I know it's not your choice, but where was I going? Anime, adult sitcoms, and basically everything on Adult Swim is 2D animated. Just interesting, right? It's interesting. Adult Swim rules. It's an incredibly creative space that's not overly censored and has just actual good shows. Rest in peace, Cartoon Network. It really is a bummer that this shit is gone. It kind of was like a kids version of Adult Swim with the way it would also get super freaking weird. Follow the Instagram, check out the clothing, and channel that subscribe button for weekly videos about whatever the hell. Thank you for watching.